G'day. Hi, Buenos Dias. What's up? Multilingual. My name is Paul Hogan. I feel it necessary to tell you that because I'm usually pointed out as, hey, that's Crocodile Dundee. Which, you know, I guess is a step up from, hey, that's the shrimp on the Barbie guy. But, you know, I don't care what you call me, I'm a very easygoing fella. However, the last man that came up to my table at a restaurant picked up my butter knife and said, hey, that's not a knife, this is a knife. Is in the Cedars of Sinai, with multiple stab wounds. That act aside, I am the goodwill ambassador from Australia to the US. See, I've got a responsibility here. I'm speaking to, on the campus at UCLA. So, right, that's pretty friendly. A round of applause just for knowing what school I'm at. Now, as I said, I'm talking to students. I'm talking to fine, young, intelligent minds. In fact, I can almost sense that raw, youthful intelligence, you know, emanating from yous and sort of wafting over me, you know, like a cheap deodorant. And it's because of that youthful... Right, it's all right, I'm not doing a pee-wee patrol. I just wanted to have a look at the cream of America's youth. Some of it's sliding past the expiry date, I'm afraid. Evening, sir. You a student?
Yes, sir.
What are you studying?
Psychology.
Psychology? Sure. Let's see you spell it. Hey, no, I'm not one of those teachers that singles people out and puts them down, you know, because I am a college graduate myself. I've got too much dignity to acknowledge that nonsense. Well, this is a good idea. Put all the slow learners together. No disrespect, Chief. No. But I mean, you are a little bit long in the tooth to be still at school, aren't you? Oh, fool. You're a teacher.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, I looked at you and I thought just some creepy middle-aged guy that hangs around young co-eds, you know. Cool. What do you teach, sir?
I'm not a teacher.
Oh, so I was right the first time. There you go. Now settle down. Now, as the ambassador, I receive a lot of inquiries from people who want to visit Australia. And I'm constantly surprised at how little Americans know about the land down under. For instance, many of them people say to me, hey, I thought you were a really big guy. Well, of course I was. No, are there many members of the faculty present this evening? Any teachers? No, don't give me this and shout. Keep your dignity. If you're a professor, just nod your head. I can see well in the dark. Oh, quite a few. I always attract the eggheads, you know. Any professors here of advanced physics? Thank you. Specialists in the field of atmospheric variables? Oh, here's one, thank you. Two. I have two, that's enough. Thanks for all the same. Now you see, up here in America, as any school kid knows, the atmosphere sits on top of you. Atmospheric pressure, 14.72 pounds per square inch, right? Keeps you in place. But of course, down under, a lot of that atmosphere sort of hangs there, you know. Consequently, the atmospheric pressure in Australia is 8.5 pounds per square inch. Is that right, sir? Thank you. Sorry? Oh, 8.51 to be exact. Not here to argue. So, you see, when I'm down in Australia, I am 6'3". And I weigh about 190 pounds. But of course I've been up here now for the best part of a year. And gosh, I'm pretty much down to about 5'9". That's that, that 14.72 right on top of the skull. But of course now I weigh 220 pounds. Do I detect a note of cynicism? I mean, we're talking scientific facts here, verified by your own faculty. If you've got no respect for your own professors, put your hand up here on the stage, I'll show you 220 pounds. And in fact, it is this variance in atmospheric pressure that deters many Americans from visiting down under. Because they think if you're down there and you jump too high or something, you'll go hurtling off into outer space. Yeah. Let me assure you, that just doesn't happen. Very often. Yeah, look, come on down, pay us a visit. You'll lose weight, you'll grow taller, and you'll have a good time. Because we really do like Americans. No, we like Yanks. And that's as far as I'll go in sucking up to the American public. Of course, that's not my job, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's job. And he's good at it, eh? Have you seen Arnold on the TV when he's got something to promote? Oh, he could suck the camouflage paint off a tank. What a crawler. Well, I better not start dumping on Arnold, because the way he's operating in this country, he could be an ex-president. Personally, I can't wait to see him on the victory dais, President Arnold. I'll tell you what, the White House would go broke trying to feed the big buffhead. Have you noticed he's even got half a dozen more teeth than anyone else? Anyway, here's a safe. I don't get to vote. I'm an Australian. But my wife's an American, so that sort of makes us Astro-American. Sounds like a tennis court surface, doesn't it? And she was saying to me, you can't get the real feel of America staying in hotels. You only meet other tourists. Said, we've got to get out where the real people live, out in the suburbs where the regular Americans live. Meet them. I thought, good idea. So we've rented a house out in the suburbs, Beverly Hills, actually. What a weird reaction. Beverly Hills is the only town in America that you can mention in public and nobody goes, Beverly Hills, yeah. And that's weird because, I've seen the talk shows. You can go on there and say, yes, I come from Death Row, San Quentin. Someone will go, yeah, Death Row. But not Beverly Hills. Hey, I'm a college graduate. Didn't take me too long to work out that Beverly Hills is probably not a typical American suburb. Well, just little things you notice, like down the corner from me there's a 7-Eleven, and it's only open from 10 till 3. Less an hour and a half for brunch. And I quickly found out that if you want to go for a jog through Bel Air, you better be wearing the Pierre Cardin tracksuit and the matching Nikes. Because if you try it in the South Sydney football jersey and bare feet, you are a moving target. Hey, they don't shoot at you, but they hit you with that, the drive-by snobbing, you know. But you know, I mean, in Beverly Hills, we're like any other suburb. We have our problems. We have the cockroaches and mice and rats. Got big rats over there. But I found out, though, it's a waste of time to bait your rat trap in Beverly Hills with cheese. Won't look at it. But a nice little slice of vegetarian quiche. Maybe a dab of salmon mousse on top of that. Works like a charm. See, it's not the people of Beverly Hills who are the snobs. It's the rats. You know, I walked out my back door this morning, there was this dirty big rat sitting on the trash can, you know, and it looked at me. I might have been seeing things, but I could swear it was wearing a dental brace. Vain little bugger. Hey, of course, you know, I don't just hang around here. I've been all over this great country. In fact, I've just come back from a trip to the Grand Canyon. Oh, magnificent. And educational. Like, here for the English majors present, I learned a brand new oxymoron. You'll like this, write this down. Oxymoron, a busload of handsome tourists. Oh, hey, for the benefit of the like English miners at home, the kids and some of the slow learners, I should explain that an oxymoron is a contradiction in terms. I'm not being smug or anything. I always thought an oxymoron was an idiot that loved scuba diving. Something I learned driving back from the Grand Canyon, that the ugly American tourist is not extinct. You remember those guys with the Hawaiian shirt, the big cigar and them checkered pants that no one else in the world would wear, even on a golf course? And always bragging about how everything where I come from is better. Well, you see, you don't run into them around the world anymore. I thought they'd all disappeared. The reason you don't run into them is because nowadays they all go to Las Vegas. Spend their vacation with Telly Savalas. Hey, if you think them guys are scary, though, you obviously haven't encountered our version of him, the ugly Aussie on tour. Well, I mean, at least your guy wears pants. Oh, no, I mean, aside from the mooning and that, our guys are still clinging to their beloved Bermuda shorts. It beats me completely. I mean, the ugliest part of the middle-aged male anatomy that you can show in public, the knees. And these guys, you know, they get that fold down there. Oh, some of them you could hide your traveller's checks in them. And these guys, they don't just expose the knees. They've got the shorts down to here and the socks up to there. They highlight them, you know? I mean, do they ever look in a mirror? Hey, Herb, looking good, babe, looking good. No, Herb, looking goofy. Like a senile schoolboy. At least, your guy brags about how everything back home is better. Now, ours brag about how everything back home is worse. They do. If you run into them, you'll hear stuff like, what do you call this? Death Valley. Hey, compared to the Gibson Desert, this is a rainforest. More people die of thirst in our desert than any other desert on the face of the earth. On a per capita basis. What's this? A rattlesnake. Do you know what the Queensland taipan eats for breakfast? Rattlesnakes. And sharks, our sharks eat more people on a per capita basis than anyone else's sharks. See, I wanted to change this negative image down there, so real clever. I made a movie where every creek is swarming with crocodiles. I don't know why we do this. We make the place out to be bad, but I think it's because, see, Australia started out as a prison colony. So all our ancestors were sent down there in chains by the British. Well, cut that out, Walter. That was very undignified. Slip. I don't usually do that. I usually come out with a really clever put-down. You know, like, shut your face or I'll punch holes in it. And sometimes even cleverer ones than that. But he just caught me the wrong way. No, we're a prison colony. The English sent us down there as punishment. And you see, deep down, we never want them to find out how dumb that was. Of course, it's a terrific place. You know, so we lie about it, especially when we're in England. We get over there and say, oh, no, don't go down to Australia. Oh, something nasty will bite you. You are much better off here in beautiful Liverpool. Anyway, don't worry about that. Let's, notebooks out, crayons at the ready. Let's get stuck into a bit of serious anthropology here. One of the problems that one encounters when visiting the United States, even if one speaks perfect English, like what I do, is the language. It's the slang. You see, because Americans are prolific at inventing new words. I mean, just to describe a particular type of guy. He can be a jerk. No offence. A redneck, a good old boy, a nerd, a geek, a dork, a dude, a doofus, a homie. He's got an endless list. However, you don't seem to have come up with the good word to describe a particular type of guy that you have here, but back home we call him a galah. I see in Australia a galah is a bird, brightly coloured, incessantly noisy. It's got a big head and a brain about the size of a split pea. In fact, galahs love to fly along the road at about that height, checking out the yellow lines. Nasty. They just can't work it out. Consequently, guys that are colourful, incessantly noisy, and with a brain the size of a split pea, we call galahs. Now, of course, you don't have the bird in America. However, need I point out, you certainly seem to have your fair share of the two-legged variety, Galaris americus. Now, your American galah has its own very unique call and rather distinctive wing action. It sort of goes, the American galah. All right! Whoop, whoop, whoop! High five! All right! Whoop, whoop, whoop! High five! You've seen him, obviously. Now, I know what many of you are thinking. Hey, I do that at the football. To celebrate a touchdown. Does that mean I'm a galah? Not necessarily. You see, because galahs will do this little ritual all the time over anything. A galah will celebrate the fact that he's just completed a meal using a fork without actually puncturing either cheek. All right! Of course, in the case of some galahs I know, in his case, that probably is an accomplishment worth celebrating. Now, spotting the galah. Used to be easy in this country a couple of years ago because galahs always wore their baseball caps at a goofy angle. You know, sideways, backwards. But of course now, for some reason that escapes me completely, it's considered cool. So everyone wears their hats sideways and backwards. So that doesn't necessarily make them galahs. Dorks, maybe, but not galahs. A sure sign of the galah, the Beastie Boys t-shirt. Because after all, it was the Beastie Boys who wrote the galah's anthem, "You've got to fight for the right to party, hooray." Whatever that means. And another sure sign of the galah is the accessories they choose when they're going out cruising for babes. And that consists of a long necklace made of the ring pull tops from beer cans, and the galah's handbag. Now you'll notice the galah always carries the brewski in the plastic rings, and he'll also keep all the empty rings in the same hand. There's a very good reason for this, so that everyone will know at a glance that this guy has really got a skinful. You see, because according to galah logic, hey, babes really go for that. Hey, him I got to meet. That we in the Western world have to learn to avoid war in the future is how to bluff. See, we're no good at it, never have been. You know why? It's the names of our wartime leaders. They're not good names for bluffing. Look in the history books. And the sad fact is, the villains always have the coolest names. Yeah, right back to Genghis Khan, Attila the Hun, Hitler, Colonel Gaddafi, Saddam Hussein. I mean, they sound like a bunch of cutthroats, right? It's scary. What names through our history have we come up with to scare the pants off these villains? Theodore Roosevelt, Winston Churchill. I mean, you're going to think twice about stepping into the back alley with someone named Attila the Hun. But Theo and Winnie, bring them both out. Nancy boys. And Dwight D. Eisenhower. I mean, that sounds like the New York Times book critic. Whereas Gaddafi, I mean, that sounds like cutting your fingers off, doesn't it? Gaddafi. What name did we come up with to bluff Gaddafi? Ronnie Reagan. You know what I mean? Sounds like a vaudeville tap dancing act. Well, you welcome on stage Tommy Toon and Ronnie Reagan. Yeah, look, if you want to see walking proof of how you can't bluff with a loser name, Yasser Arafat. It's just not scary, Yasser. On top of that, have you seen him? Hey? Looks exactly like Ringo Starr with a towel on his head. So, poor old Yasser tries to bluff people. You say, get out of here, Ringo. Go and get a decent shave. Yeah, war sucks. We all know that. But even the biggest galah knows sometimes you've got to fight for the right to party. So, you know, it's ironic to me that you went to war in 1991, the bicentenary of the Bill of Rights. Bill of Rights, the cornerstone of freedom in America, framed in 1791 by James Madison, right? Now, of course, you all know the Bill of Rights like the back of your hand. Yeah. But I only got to study them last week. And ladies and gentlemen, I was staggered. Because, you see, Australia's a democracy, but we've only officially been a country since 1901. And we have our own Bill of Rights. And any history professors in here? Anyone with specific knowledge of early Australian history? None? Good. No, I'm proud to say that our Bill of Rights was written in 1901 by my great-grandfather. Now, you wouldn't know this over here, but great-grandfather Bill Swifty Hogan was a much-loved and revered elder statesman in Australia who not only wrote our Bill of Rights, but gave us many of the great quotes that we try and live by. It was Grandpa Swifty that first said, "You can fool all of the people for some of the time, and that's long enough to make a quick buck." He said it first. He said, "All men are created equal, but when I'm cruising for babes, I'd rather be Mel Gibson." And perhaps his most famous and most plagiarised quote, made during a period in Australia when we were suffering from a proliferation of unlicensed rip-off cabs. Everywhere they were. And he stood up in the Senate and he said, "Read my lips, there will be no more taxis." Anyway, that's the gentleman who formed our Bill of Rights, and this is what staggered me. Your bill and ours, almost exactly the same. Other side of the world, so close. I mean, like your Second Amendment, which is always in the news, the right to bear arms. Because they don't like us carrying guns. Nevertheless, our Second Amendment, the right to bear legs. It's close. Probably explains the Bermuda shorts too, yeah. Now, listen, I'm not one to pick, but, you know, I just think we'd all be better off if you were just a little bit fussier about who you let bear arms. And we were a lot fussier about who we let bear legs. Might stamp out some of that walk by flashing, you know what I mean? Now, your First Amendment, which deals with freedom of speech, exactly the same as ours. Ours is probably a bit clearer though, because Grandpa Swifty included a couple of examples on how those laws should be interpreted. Like, well, they wouldn't make any sense to you here. Like on freedom of the arts, he said, any artist, while performing on stage, who is overcome with the urge to perform any bodily function whatsoever, may do so, and it shall be deemed freedom of expression. If, however, any entertainer is overcome with the same urge while seated in a darkened section of the audience, we'll throw the little pervert into jail. Wouldn't make any sense here, I know. Who was the melon head that first come out with that? She was wearing a short skirt, therefore she was asking to be sexually harassed. Yeah, like he was wearing tight jeans, therefore he was asking to be kneed in the nuts. Yeah, well, I guess I asked for that. One good thing that did come out of the Senate inquiry into sexual harassment, it was shown around the world on television, proving once again that America truly is the land of opportunity. No, because when the camera panned across that panel of senators, you knew at a glance that those men had achieved that high office on sheer ability. And sure as hell didn't make it on good looks. I turned the TV on, I thought I was watching an ad for the hair club for men. You don't have to look like this. Manuel Noriega could have sat in the middle of that crowd. He looked like a male model. No disrespect. No. I mean, you know, I'm no oil painting myself. But you see, I just think Americans are a fine-looking race of people. No, you really are a fine-looking race. I'm not just sucking up. Well, maybe a little, but... No, you are. And so, while I think it's admirable that you'll elect a man to the Senate, even though he's got a head like a burglar's dog, I don't think you should have made that compulsory. Anyway, after looking at that group, I understand better why it was that you decided to give George Bush the #1 jersey. Because at least you can put his head on a postage stamp. And it won't make you throw up when you lick the back of it, you know? Now, your 8th Amendment. That's the one, as you all know, that prohibits cruel and unusual punishment for a crime. Well, that was invoked recently here by the Reverend Jim Baker. Of course, you know, the Reverend Jim got 45 years jail for fraud. Now, wait a minute. Now, the way the law works sometimes, Jim could still be in jail when the Milwaukee cannibal is out on probation. Now, Jim robbed a lot of people. Yeah, but as far as we know, he didn't eat any of them. As far as we know. So the appeal judge said, yeah, Jim's not dangerous. He should be released, made to work, pay back the money he robbed, and his full-time probation officer will be Tammy Faye. And that's when Jim invoked the 8th Amendment. Okay. What's the biggest thing that's happened in the last decade, actually the last 50 years in this country? The collapse of the Soviet Empire. Something that for 50 years Americans have deemed to be their biggest threat to their freedom. And at last we've seen it fall in a heap. So now we can all relax. Party. Wrong. Wrong. You see, the threat to your freedom doesn't come from another country. It doesn't go off with a bang. It comes from inside and it sneaks up. And it has snuck. Every day, in some small way, something in this country takes away your right to decide. That's freedom. There are any subtle things. It's been going on for a while. For instance, when you woke up this morning, did you decide, I've had enough sleep, I'll get up? Or... no? Or did your alarm clock decide for you? No? Did you decide time to make the coffee? Or did the whistling kettle decide? Did the pop-up toaster decide the toast ready? During the night, while you slept, did your automatic refrigerator decide time to defrost? I think I'll turn myself off. Only little things, but hey, I'm a rebel. I fight back. Sometimes I just jam that toast back down. Burn the hell out of it. Show it who's the boss. I'll leave that fridge door open, prop it open with a chair, leave it open all night. Confuse it. I've got a car, and when you shut the door, these lights come on. Fasten seatbelts, fasten seatbelts. I'll give it one of these. And you see, you've got to be on your toes in America, because there's always some sort of a plot going on here. Antiperspirant. Antiperspirant takes away your right to sweat. And that's unnatural and can change your personality. Because you're supposed to sweat under the arms. It's nature's lubricant. Enables you to swing your arms properly. If you've got a dry armpit, you've got to walk like this. What do you become? Exactly. Here's one you'll know about. Odor eaters. says on the packet, they're chemically activated. In other words, they decide when your feet stink. Hey, what a gross job that is. Odour eater. Apparently they sit in your shoe asleep, you know. Oh, oh. Oh, I can taste that. And now, of course, they've got the new, improved odour eaters with the insatiable appetite. They never stop munching. What do they eat when they run out of stink? I'm a rebel. I fight back against odour eaters. And I sense in this room that I'm not the only rebel here. Right, guys? Yeah. Right. No, I do. I can take a brand new pair of odour eaters, put them in my favourite sneakers, 5 sets of tennis, hot day, no socks. When I take those sneakers off, those little mongrels are dead. A lot of us guys do that, right? Yeah. So, girls, ladies, next time your man takes his sneakers off in the house, don't turn your head away and dry retch. Just look at him as a freedom fighter. Of course, all that stuff's just the tip of the iceberg. I can't stall anymore. I'm running out of time here. In fact, we're all running out of time. I need to warn you people. Ladies and gentlemen of America, you are in terrible, terrible danger. I'm talking a nightmare that literally hangs over the head of every man, woman and child in America. And that nightmare is called television. You see, the problem is it's the sheer amount of television in this country that's pumped out into the airwaves, plucked from the air by your aerial. I mean, this program's on cable. It goes through a cable, no loose ends. Neat. But it's your regular television that they pump out into the airwaves that's causing the problem. You see, there are 90 million homes in America with television. So when the networks pump out a popular program like 60 Minutes, they have to pump out enough power for everybody, so they pump out 90 million copies of 60 Minutes. Well, if they didn't do that, think about it. If they only pumped out 50 million and everyone decided to watch it and you turned on 5 minutes late, you'd miss out. You'd just get a blank screen. Oh. So, you know, none of us want that. So they pump out enough power and volume. Literally, they pump out 90 million copies of every program they make. Doesn't matter if it's the coloured-in version of the early Gilligan's Island. They pump out 90 million copies. Now, 1 million people, for reasons best known to themselves, will tune into Gilligan. And their antenna will pluck one of those copies out of the air, put it on the screen, and they'll sit there happy, perhaps wondering why it is that Gilligan has never really tried to nail Ginger. So, see, that's 1 million copies used up. No problem. What do you think happens to the other 89 million episodes that nobody wants to watch? What, in fact, happens to the other countless thousands of hours, millions of episodes of all those terrible TV turkeys that no one wants to watch? Nobody plucks them out of the air with their antenna. What happens to them? Oh, they just fade away. We're educated people. We know that television signals, sound and picture, are in fact molecular matter. And molecular matter, matter can't fade away, it can't cease to exist. Those programs still exist. They're still here. So I'm going to tell you where they're hiding. Just think for a minute. Anyone who's ever had antenna trouble? Or a portable TV? What's the best commonly found household device you can use as a substitute antenna? Best thing laying around the house for picking up a picture if your aerial doesn't work. I'm sure you've all tried it. Yeah? A simple wire coat hanger. Hook it up to the TV. Works better than rabbit ears, right? Looks harmless enough, doesn't it? Ladies and gentlemen, in almost every closet, in every home in America, there is at least one of these diabolical devices just hanging there in the dark, trying to look innocent, while efficiently and relentlessly sucking from the airwaves countless thousands of hours of unwanted, unwatched TV garbage. If you're watching this program tonight, you're obviously not watching the World Wrestling Federation talk show. Your coat hangers are. You went to work or to school today, you didn't see children of short-sighted pole vaulters on Geraldo. Your coat hangers did. The ratings tell us you didn't like cop rock. Your coat hangers loved it. Just hanging there, day after day, hour after hour, sucking it in, storing it up, until one day the inevitable must happen. Television overload, followed by coat hanger meltdown. Now, one dark night, you'll walk into that bedroom, you'll open that closet door, and it'll happen. You didn't watch Regis and Kathy Lee in the mornings, and you didn't sail into the night with Rick Dees, but you're going to. Countless thousands of hours, endless repeats of every episode, of every program ever made by Aaron Spelling. The best of Morton Downey Jr., the worst of Wally George, all the crap you never wanted to watch is going to come flooding out of that wardrobe over you, your children, your family, the pets, the walls. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Yes, I'm not ashamed to admit it, I'm crying. You know, like Jimmy Swaggart. But America, I'm crying for you. And these are tears of joy, because I got here in time to warn you. You see, it's not too late to save yourself, as long as you do exactly as I say. Wherever you're watching this program, I want you to get up out of your chair. I want you to go to the window, open it wide, and yell at the top of your voice, "I'm getting mad! I'm not going to take it anymore!" Sorry. Forget the window. Go into your bedroom. Go into those wardrobes. Reach into that filthy black hole and rip these diabolical devices from their stinking hiding place and bend them, crush them, mangle them, Destroy them and throw them out of your house. Destroy them before they destroy you. God bless you. Good night.